Okay, let's show the audience. 1, 2, sorry, this thing's weird. Okay, and me. And let me get it focused.
Hello, my name is William Kimmich, and this is my career speech. The purpose of this speech is to inform you about becoming a scientific biologist. Do you or have you ever known someone that has a sickness, that is sick with an illness that there is currently no cure for, and wish that there was something you could do to help? Well, I have, and that's one of the reasons why I want to become a scientific biologist. I want to study and research diseases that have no cure and help the plight to find a cure for them. It has always been a dream of mine to help people in the way that only a biologist can. I want to find a cure for diseases that kill people. According to the American Cancer Society, about 590,000 people in the U.S. will die from cancer this year. About 1.7 million people worldwide die of AIDS last year, according to the Global Fund at theglobalfund.org. I want to dedicate my life to finding cures for these and other diseases. I think we will all have a purpose, a reason for being, and mine is to become a biologist and research and find cures to diseases and treatments to help people suffering from diseases. Let's start with facts about a career as a scientific biologist. Most scientific biologists work a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday schedules, with exceptions depending on the specialty area of work. You could be based in a laboratory, a classroom, in an industry, or research vessel at sea. I plan to work in a laboratory setting for my specialization. You would often work in a team with other scientists and technicians working towards a common goal. Working attire is generally a lab coat if you're working in a lab setting. If you're working in a classroom, business casual, or whatever the university's policy dictates. If you're doing field research, weather and terrain will be your guides on attire. Research and development is a common area for biologists to work in, with a PhD generally being needed to lead independent research. Some biologists work in laboratories, while others, such as botanists, plant people, do a lot of their research in the field. Some biologists work with DNA, isolating specific genes and determining their function, while others use their research to make new products such as biofuels and drugs. It's important for biologists to have a good communication skills as well as being curious, patient, and self-disciplined. In an article from the American Institute of Biological Sciences, Marion's advice to graduate students is to dare to be different. She continues to say that doing something that feels very different from your dissertation may just be the thing you need to stand out. Some biologists work with objects and processes that are observable by the naked eye, while others work with objects and processes that are very small and can only be seen with high-powered microscopes. There's a wide range of specialist jobs in the field of biology, including microbiologists, geneticists, zoologists, and ecologists. According to Salary.com, a biologist in Omaha, Nebraska makes an average salary of $41,000 a year. $41,000 a year. However, that would be starting out and with only a bachelor's degree. After earning a PhD, which I plan to do while I'm working as a biologist, the salary increases quite a bit. The median salary for a biologist and biophysicist employed in research and development was $80,000 in 2006, according to the Occupational Outlook Handbook. The middle 50% of salary range earn between $53,000 and $100,000, with the bottom 10% earning less than $40,000 and the top 10% earning more than $130,000. So there's quite a range there, and it changes depending on various factors such as places of employment, university, usually pay less than government institutions, for example. Let's talk a little more about what it takes to be a biological scientist. Many biological scientists work in research and development, conducting research to advance knowledge on living organisms, including viruses, bacteria, and other infectious agents. According to StudentScholarship.org, Biological scientists held about 91,000 jobs in 2008. Also, not including the numbers of biological facilities, positions, and university and colleges. About 40% of all biological scientists were employed by the federal, state, and local governments. Employment is expected to increase for biological scientists much faster than all other occupations because biotechnology research and development continues to drive job growth. The federal government is the main source of funding for basic research and development. Biological scientists are less likely to lose their jobs than other occupations during recessions because they are employed for long-term research projects. A detailed example of research biological scientists might work on involving Salmonella bacteria, for example. First, the infected tissue culture cells with Salmonella bacteria and then analyze what has happened to the cells in a number of ways. One of the most basic ways is to look at them and compare them to infected cells under a live image microscope, as well as throwing some bacteria on the cell tissue culture and looking at what happens afterwards. Biological scientists spend a fair amount of time reading about results of other scientists and trying to think of interesting ways to improve on their experiments. It's not all good. Like any careers, there are bad things as well. In an interview with Adam Rubin, PhD, he describes what he says are the best and worst things about being a scientist. A scientist who is already the most successful gets all the credit. Rubin goes on to explain that if you discover something, your principal investigator, or PI, gets the credit. If you write a paper, your PI gets the credit. If you submit a successful grant proposal, your PI gets the credit and the money. And what do you get? If you're lucky, you get to write more papers and grant proposals to bolster your PI's curriculum vitae. The work is dangerous. Scientists work with things that can actually kill you, like caustic chemicals, infectious agents, and highly electrified instruments. On a positive note, according to the Princeton Review, most biologists generally love what they do. Many put in long hours, driven by their dedication to work beyond the requirements of their job. Not only do they have great interest in biology and biological sciences, but also a great deal of math is required. Someone that excels in their area and is patient, as well as some experiments can take years to show results. These are good traits to have in order to be successful as a biological scientist. In conclusion, it takes a certain type of personality to become a scientific biologist and a great deal of schooling, and the pay isn't great to start out. However, this is what I want to do more than anything in my ambition and drive and willingness to learn and continue through the schooling. Turn my PhD. While I do have a long way to go as far as schooling goes, I've determined that I know that when I finally work as a biological scientist, I will thrive and be able to fulfill my goals of providing for my family in the future, as well as hopefully making a difference in the pursuit of finding cures for diseases.
Okay, let's show the audience again. Here's 1, 2, and me. And we're done.